Pronouns are one of the most basic parts of speech, but if you're still not comfortable with what exactly they are, hopefully this video can help you out. Basically, a pronoun is nothing but a word that is used to take the place of a noun, and maybe that definition doesn't make a lot of sense to you, but I think maybe putting it into some sort of context will. Okay, so if I say Jill's friends laughed at Jill because Jill didn't like ice cream. Jill's friends were really mean, and laughing at Jill because Jill didn't like ice cream was a silly thing to mock. Okay, that just sounds weird, right? It sounds wordy. You don't say things like Jill's friends laughed at Jill because Jill didn't like ice cream. You don't do that. What you say is Jill's friends laughed at her because she didn't like ice cream. They were really mean, and it was a silly thing to mock. Now, we use those words, her, she, they, it, along with many, many other pronouns, because it just clarifies the way that we speak. It sounds a lot less cluttered when we use these pronouns. They're just used all the time, and you use them all the time, I'm sure, just to make our communication a little bit more logical. Now, all pronouns are going to have some form of antecedent. Now, most sentences will have the antecedent in it or around it. Very few are going to be implied, but the antecedent really just means that the word, the noun, the noun phrase, the other pronoun, it's just the word that the pronoun is taking the place of. So, again, in the sentence here, Jill's friends laughed at her. Well, you don't say Jill's friends laughed at Jill. Jill's friends laughed at Jill because Jill didn't like ice cream. Well, how many times can you say the word Jill in the same sentence? It just sounds ridiculous. So the antecedent is just Jill's name. It's just Jill. So Jill's friends laughed at Jill. So if I ask you, what is the antecedent of the word her? Well, it's Jill. So what you have to do is you identify your pronoun, and then you look at the sentence. You say, okay, well, Jill is obviously her, so the antecedent to her is Jill. She is, again, referring to Jill, so that's my antecedent again. So my next pronoun here is they. Well, they were really mean. So who's they? Well, they's not Jill. They is Jill's friends in this case. Again, you don't want to say Jill's friends laughed at her because she didn't like ice cream. Jill's friends are really mean. I'm talking about Jill's friends, so we use the word they. Now, it, what am I talking about when I'm talking about it? What is the antecedent to the word it? It's not one word in this case, but it's more, why are they laughing at Jill? That's the it. And this is a noun phrase in this case. They laughed at her because she didn't like ice cream. They were really mean, and they laughed at her because she didn't like ice cream. It'd be really wordy. Why would you want to repeat the same thing that you've just said? So we use these pronouns to kind of take the place of those nouns and noun phrases. Okay. Now, the one real tricky thing here that many students have an issue with is pronoun agreement. Now, pronoun agreement is something that is way too complicated to get into right here and now in this particular video. But if nothing else, take this one example out, because I see this in student writing all the time. Every time I collect a set of essays, I see it 25 times at least. Here's the point. A pronoun and its antecedent have to agree. They have to agree in number. They have to agree in person. They have to agree in gender. Again, all that has very specific meaning. But if nothing else, look at this. When a student starts school, they should have all the right supplies. All right, what's my pronoun here? Okay, can you see they? All right, now what is the antecedent to they? Okay, when a student starts school, they have all the right supplies. Well, it's a student, right? How many students? How many students am I talking about? A student. It's one, right? Well, they, is that a singular word? No, it's a plural word. So my problem now is that my pronoun and the antecedent do not agree in number, because they is plural and a student is singular. Yet we do these sorts of things all the time. Now, again, we'll get into what pronoun agreement really means later on, what it means to agree in number and gender and person. We'll do that in detail in another lesson. But if nothing else, please remember that a pronoun has to be the same form as its antecedent. Okay? So pronouns, we use them to take the place of nouns, and we use the antecedent to determine what pronoun we're going to actually use.